I like to consider myself a round artist, well-faceted. Whenever I am creating a song, I already have imagined the visuals. So like with each lyric, I already know how I would like for this to appear on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Also, something else I do is like I can't separate the art of writing from my performances. So when I'm writing, I'm already thinking about how I'm going to perform it. Everything is very much connected for me. So like tap in, tap tap to tap in, tap tap to tap in, tap tap to tap in, would be Anderson. Tap tap to tap in, tap tap to tap in, tap tap to tap in, would be Anderson.
This is the mic drop with B. Anderson, and we are back again with a familiar guest, Cleöcrt.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing very well. Before we jump into anything, I want to thank you for lending your vocals on my intro. Super fire.
Thank you. I'm glad you extended the invitation and allowed me to do that.
Absolutely. What have you been up to since the last time we sat down? It's been about 9 months now. So
wow.
Yeah,
what's
term. Yes. So what's been going on? I mean, the last time you were here, we talked about your EP, We Can Go Somewhere. How has things been going with that first?
In regards to the EP, things have been wonderful. The numbers are still doing really well. People seem to enjoy very select tracks such as Tonga, We Can Go Somewhere. Those are like always doing extraordinary numbers. And Silky, people love Silky. Y'all are freaky. Didn't know you guys got down like that. And Serpent is making a come around. I think people are finally starting to appreciate the lyricism in it, as well as the cadence, how it flows over the beat.
Mm-hmm.
I recently dropped visuals for Silky, Serpent, and Orbit. So just to help people to imagine those things come to light. And they're doing amazing. So I'm very glad that I was able to put that project out. I felt like it was a good introduction to who I am as a person, but just the surface. I've been into a lot of performing. I'm a performing artist. That is a big part of what I do. And I have continued to expand on the venues that I touch, and I'm still going to do so. So like every venue that I perform at, I'm like, what's the next thing? What can I do that makes this pale in comparison? Like I'm always thankful to perform at these places, but I'm like, okay, that was on my bucket list. I'm so happy I did that. What can I do now? So performing has been a thing that I'm like using to push myself, and while performing, I'm still working on the next song. I still write about 10 songs a day. The archive, all I know is when I pass away, years from now, my archive, they're gonna have music to put out for me for at least a millennium. Like it's gonna be some stuff.
You're gonna be on some Michael Jackson stuff.
Look, I mean, I'm
Tupac,
hoping so. I'm hoping so. It's just gonna be work that can effortlessly and endlessly come out. Because that's how much music I create. And yeah, so those are some of the things that I've been up to. The visuals, making sure those concepts are delivered, creating new music in the future, for the future, and performing, never stopping performing.
Well, if you want to catch Cleöcrt talking in depth about We Can Go Somewhere, the EP, you need to go back and watch our previous interview. There you will get the scoop on everything. What I really want to touch on is the visuals. So, because Silky was so sexy.
Thank you.
It was just, the way it was put together. Serpent and Orbit, super fire, and I just like the idea behind it. So, what was it that made you decide I want to do these visuals? You know, not just hearing my vocals. I want the visuals to go along with it.
Well, I think I like to consider myself a round artist, well faceted. Whenever I am creating a song, I already have imagined the visuals. So like with each lyric, I already know how I would like for this to appear on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Also, something else I do is like I can't separate the art of writing from my performances. So when I'm writing, I'm already thinking about how I'm going to perform it. Everything is very much connected for me. So like for example, with Silky, I already kind of had the concept of this is to represent, wetness. This is to represent silkiness and what goes good. So I'm thinking like silky, silky, and April comes to mind because that's the month of rain, and silky is about coming, and rain comes like rain is coming down and pouring, and just like an orgasm, like in pure bliss and ecstasy. So I already had that kind of like played out, and so I don't know if you know, but every time I perform Silky, I wear fabrics just on a daily. Actually, I wear fabrics that kind of represent that, like that silk, that satin, that really flowy, to represent my flow as a woman. And then with Silky, like like whenever I perform it, I make sure my scarf and my fabrics are blowing because I want them to seem effortless and flowing and just feed into that. So everything is connected. By default, I just cannot seem to help it. I'm like, what color goes best with Silky? When I think of Silky, I think of like whites and black and white, kind of like that. So that's why the visual was black and white. I wanted it to have that old school kind of feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, same thing with Serpent. Some things I do feel like are better left as just hear my words. I don't want you to get caught up in what I look like, because I know it can be distracting. I just want you to hear what I'm saying. So like, for we can go somewhere. I have something in the work for that, but I need people to understand what we can go somewhere is about. So before I give them visuals, I need them to listen to it and really form a connection with the lyrics. And then I'll show you the visuals to help you better understand once you've already made that personal connection to the lyrics. That way the visuals don't influence your thought. I want you to come to your own artistic thought about what this is about, and then I'm gonna tell you what it's about. Or it'll help you to better inform what you thought it was about. Same thing with Serpent. I think Serpent is pretty straightforward. It is Medusa's lair theme, Garden of Eden theme. It's about the woman who is a seductress, and she is alluring and tempting and beautiful to gaze upon. And at the same time, speaking to the femininity. A lot of people think like, oh, soft girl era is feminine, and that's beautiful. But also, people who are really tapped in with their feminine know that it's dark, and it's more of like, oh, I'm peaceful, but also I ain't tolerating no shit. So Serpent is really like to speak on that dark feminine, and like, look at me, like I'm sexy. This is what I am, and you have to bow down to it because you are, primitive to me. And I know some people are gonna look at that and be like, what? But that's truly what it is. If you meet a woman who is really in tune with her feminine self, trust me, there is a level of irresistibleness that comes with that. And it's natural, and that's how it should be. It's the confidence that comes with it of her knowing who she is. Just like, you meet a man who is a man, who knows who he is. There is a level of, that's
that
attractive.
Confidence,
That right there is pulling me, whatever reason. Because, I mean, that's just the divine order, I guess. So Serpent kind of like ushers people into that dark feminine to understand it. And, so just to go back to We Can Go Somewhere, because I put out a visual for Orbit as well, which is really like sweet. And I had somebody tell me like Orbit was like wifey time, and then it switches right over to Serpent, which is like so I just let you know, like, there is duality, as in Orbit, I can be this feminine, submissive lady that you want, and submission goes both ways, but Orbit is like, I can be this soft, gentle woman that I am, but all the while switching to Serpent, I'm also aware of myself, and I know who the fuck I am. And You know, I'm not just gonna be that submissive gentleness, because if you push me, I'm not about to be gentle with you.
Facts.
So,
I got you.
yeah.
And I know we were talking about before we got on camera that, you know, sometimes I'll find myself like just kind of humming like the tunes of, you know, your music and things of that sort. When you hear things like that, like when you hear like someone can be in a certain situation and your music just kind of comes to their mind, like how does that make you feel?
It makes me. It doesn't make me feel away. It just lets me know that music is doing its thing. Music is a language in itself that we all understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, music is a world within itself, with the language we all understand. I love that quote, because no matter what it is, and you know, there are some songs obviously that we don't really tune into, like we don't vibe with it, like that ain't really for me, that genre, the way that it's coming at me, it ain't really for me, that's fine.
Yeah.
But there's still a language there that we all can grasp. That's with art. So it lets me know that art is still alive and that it's doing its thing. You're in a situation and my song comes to mind, just want to let you know that there is a world there that we both are pulling from for whatever reason, and that situation for both of us could be completely different. Like when I wrote truthfully, when I wrote We Can Go Somewhere, I literally was cleaning up. I sat down and said, the music I'm listening to is cool, but I need something that I could really dive into. I need something I could vibe with and just clean up. I was washing walls, and thus came We Can Go Somewhere, and I literally was like, see, I've been working hard, like, and the whole song just flourished from there.
Yeah.
And I didn't think people would like the song. I remember when I went to go perform it, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it just because I feel like I want to. I just wrote it last night, and oh my God, the feedback was incredible. And they're like, in that moment, I was like, I wonder what it was about this song, that and Tonga, because they both came from me wanting to clean up. Actually, I was like, what is it about these two songs that people are like, it speaks to me? Because even to this day, people give me praises for We Can Go Somewhere and how like beautiful it is, and how when they're down they listen to it, and I'm like, that's crazy to me. It's beautiful, but I mean, I listen to it, I don't get down, but I listen to it when I'm like, you know, in the need of a pick me up, I guess. But also, that's not what that song means to me.
Yeah.
But I love that it means that for you. So it lets me know that art is doing its thing.
Yeah.
Art is reaching and connecting people to bring us to this centerfold that we can all understand, we can all relate to. And I just think it's beautiful. So I don't know, I love that my music comes to mind to people.
Yeah.
And I love that art is still alive.
And it's crazy because we can literally sit here and do a whole nother interview about We Can Go Somewhere, but there are so many more things to Cleöcrt, and we're gonna switch gears and we actually gonna rewind, and I want to talk about what was it that initially, you know, made you want to become an artist? Like, how old were you? When did you know? You know, talk about that.
Interesting. I will say that I come from an environment of love. And this is important. I come from a family who poured into me. My mom and my dad supported me. So I'm a very loved on individual. The moment I knew that I wanted to do art, to sing specifically and to perform, my dad and me shared a love for music. My mom also loves to sing. And she loves music, but she's like more into gospel and like R&B. My dad was a music connoisseur. Like he listened to everything. And that's how I am. And I remember he bought me my first MP3 player, and I sang all night long. But before that, I was singing just to sing, and my dad was very upset with me. He was like, baby girl, why didn't you tell me you could sing? And I was like, I don't know, I just didn't want to say anything. I was nervous, you know, stage fright and everything. And he just, oh my God, he called my mom, like, you know she can sing? Like, and he's like, I mean, really sing? And she's like, I mean, I hear her singing sometimes. And he's like, no, like, we need to invest in this. We need to do something about it. And after that, he bought me the MP3 player. And he was like my manager from that point on. Like, anywhere somebody brought up their kid, oh my God. somebody brought up their kid and said that they could sing, he's like, yeah, I don't care about your kid. You ain't heard my daughter sing. I'm like, Dad, you can't do that. I'm still shy. Like, but and I was probably, I think I knew I wanted to sing though when I was like 5 years old. I've always been singing even before then. But I think 5 was when like my dad really, I'm a daddy's girl, so him like really being excited about me singing also sparked more excitement in myself. Even if it was like, oh, daddy likes hearing me sing, I'm going to sing. I want to sing for daddy. But then it grew, and I'm like, yeah, this feels good. It feels good to sing with him, or just to lift myself up. It feels empowering. It feels like a way to connect with some higher being out there. I don't know. It just feels good to sing. It feels good to let that out vocally. And that's when I knew that I wanted to do it. Now, mind you, I've always been into art. My dad was really well with his hands. Like, he could draw and paint and everything. And I also draw and paint and could build. But art has always felt good, but nothing has felt like singing. And so I've always known that I wanted to do art. Like, whatever it was, I was like, it has to be art. But singing, when I started really getting into it, it was different. And then I would get into choir, and my choir teachers would hear me in there. I sang every solo from that point on, because they're like, give it to her. We trust her with the song. So they like poured into me that way. I couldn't get away from it, but also I loved it. So, you know, singing has always been my thing. I will say though, I feel in a past life, I know that I am the manifestation of my ancestors. I know that they put me here. I know that they have manifested this being, and everything that I am capable of is very intentional. So I know that singing is something that I am absolutely supposed to be doing. And I wouldn't do anything else, honestly. I wouldn't put any egg in any other basket. All my eggs are invested into this right here, because it just feels right. It feels divine. It feels like if I did anything else, I would be playing myself. I'm good at a lot of things. Like, everything I do, I practically am good at. And I mean, like, exceptionally good. Like, not just, oh, I'm pretty decent. No, like, I'm pretty damn good at the things that I put my mind to. But singing is like, and performing and doing music is like something that it doesn't feel like the rest of the things. Like, when I draw, I paint and draw and actually sell my paintings because they're really good. I do self-portraits and portraits of other people by commission all the time. And as beautiful as they are, I'm like, it just doesn't feel like singing though. It doesn't feel like performing. So I've known for a while that that's what I wanted to do.
Singing is your happy place.
It really is. Writing the song, perform also. I have a hidden passion for dancing. It's not really hidden, but it was when I was younger. So that's why performing is really, really the happy spot, because I get to take dancing and acting and whatever other element of my art that I want, I can put it into that performance. And I've always loved to be able to put on a show and incorporate things. I remember I used to force my family to watch me play Michael Jackson. Because I wanted to show them how good I was at dancing and singing, and like, I would hit all the notes and I would get the perfects on the Wii and shit. And I don't know, it just always felt good. So it's definitely a happy place. I've always known, but I think recently, like, I've always had a suspicion. I've had a suspicion that music was what I should be doing, but up until like just recently, I know now what I need to be doing. And mind you, it has officially been a little over a year of me performing now. I think my first performance was 2022, June 25th.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a little over a year now.
Yeah.
And
people would think that you've been performing though for a long time, just either seeing it on video or being right there. In my case, being able to record you performing. And, you know, it just seems like you've been doing it for a long, long time. And when you bring up performing, I just wanted to ask you about something in particular. So, back in May at Doo-Wop Cincinnati Poetry Slam, you performed. And I would like to know, what was it? Is it just something that you thought of on the fly? Or did you already have, you know, this kind of made up in your mind that you wanted to go up in the crowd and kind of interact with the people? because I thought that was a dope element, and I felt like that was like the perfect like venue to do that in. So, when did you come up with that?
Um, I'm like, I didn't rehearse for that performance at all. Like I said, performing comes so naturally for me.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't rehearse. Like I might rehearse as in I might practice the song, singing it, so that I know how I want to go about doing my riffs. But when it comes to the actual movement,
Mm-hmm.
I don't rehearse that at all. Simply because I trust that my body knows what it's doing. I try not to tell it what to do. As in, there's some things I like to incorporate. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. If I know I'm doing Tonga, I'm like, yeah, I know that I want to move like this, because that's what I do. But I'm not going to tell my body like we're going to move like this, because then you get stiff up there, too caught up in thinking about what you're going to do instead of just flowing and doing it. And I'm a Leo, so I'm like, I'm fire. I'm gonna move. I'm going to move. I'm going to do what I do. So at that show, I didn't know that I was going to go up in the crowd, but I know myself too. So like, I know that that's what I do. I like interacting with people. Hell, I'll invade your space. I'll touch you. Like, you see me perform, I'll dance on you. I'll stand on the chairs. People who book me know, don't book me if you don't want me to go out there and talk to these people, because I absolutely will. And hell, I went to a Ghost Baby, and Ghost Baby is so beautiful, and I couldn't help myself. I just had to get off that stage. And I even had them set up stairs for me. I said, put some stairs on that stage for me so I can walk around. I cannot be restricted with the wired mic. I can't be restricted on the stage, because my performance style is, I gotta go touch people. I gotta go engage. So I got off that stage and I went around the whole place and made my way back to stage. And it's just something I do. And, sometimes the people are, I've noticed this, sometimes the people are like so infatuated with how I look that they can't even be in the moment and engage with me, because they're like this. And that's fine. I think it's really sweet too, because it lets me know like you're kind of like stuck with me, and that's cool. And then some people are like, like they're ready to vibe with me, and that's fine too. So during that show, I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew the song that I wanted to, and I barely knew the song that I wanted to do, because I'm so indecisive. Like, shift. So I'd be like, this is what I'm feeling now. Yesterday I was feeling this, and I was headstrong set on it. But now I'm feeling like I need to do this. But I just knew that I wanted to do 10 for 5, and I have to go let the people know about this man that was 10 for 5, and I had to tell them face to face. Like, I couldn't. When there's this space between you and I, me the performer and you the audience member, there's this expectation that I am, so far away, and I need you to hear my voice. I need you to hear my words and feel me. Like, I'll get up there and hold your hand. I'll even hold your face. Like, I'll rub your face. Listen to what I'm saying. So, and before your next question, I also want to say, the people that think that I've been performing for years, thank you. It's a compliment, because it shows that I'm doing something right. They wouldn't be wrong. I've been in choir before, so I've been performing to some extent. And I sang in church every Sunday. So I've been performing all my life, but I haven't performed publicly or like, paid performances until last year. That's when I really started performing. I did though. When I was younger, I did get a standing ovation for singing Adele. So I was just like, I've been on the news a few times. Not to my own horns. No, I'm just kidding. But I did recently just start performing though. So the choir, I guess it counts, but I don't know. I just kind of mentally make a separation. It's like I was performing when I was younger, but this is when I really started performing.
Okay. What role has your brother played in your creativity?
My family, I think they all play a role into my creativity, just because I'm really family driven. Like, I love those cats. But my brother specifically, especially with his passing, had played a tremendous role in my art, and how it like changed and shifted, because with him passing, it really made me reflect on who I was and what it meant to be alive and what life was, and it made me think deeper into myself. And there's a lyrical change that happened, me embracing being a woman. And I to not go too deep, but I'll cover a little bit of this. Being a woman in society, you are oppressed in a way. Like, you don't have rights over your body. You can't dress how you want to without somebody being all up your ass. Or, there's also a fear of safety, being out at night if you dress a certain way. There's just a lot that goes into it. And I feel like when my brother passed away, it really made me think, life is fucking short.
Yeah.
I need to do every single thing that makes me happy. I don't care what anybody else is saying anymore. My religious families, if they have something that they're not approving of, I'm not searching for your approval, because the way my brother lived his life was he's breakdancing in Walmart and doing the things that typical people would find embarrassing, but he didn't care what people thought about him. So he has really influenced my work in that way to remind me that, quite frankly, respectfully, fuck these people. Live for yourself and be true to yourself and do the things that don't work for other people, but do what works for you. And that's when I really started to embrace my femininity, because I've always been such a feminine woman. I've always been so into the way that I dress now. I've always been into showing my skin, because I find my body to be beautiful, and I find it to be mine. Like, it's mine and it belongs to me, and I'm proud of that. So I love to show it off. I love showing what God gave me. Just like if you have a gift, you like to do something, you want to show off what God gave you. You want to show people that you are skilled in writing books, because that's the gift God gave you. I look at my body as a gift. I'm a woman. Like, it is a gift. You're a man. Your body is also a gift.
Right.
And, if you choose to shield it from the world, that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as that was your decision and not somebody forcing you to do that. And if you choose to show people your chest all day long, who cares?
Right.
So that's how my brother influenced me, is to let me know that it's important to remain authentic to yourself at all times. And I wanted to explain that because I've told people that my brother influenced my feminine journey, and I know that they'll think like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in that context, though, like, reminding me that I have to be myself is how he influenced me, not on anything else, but like, not in a weird way.
No.
Just the,
That's dope though, seriously, because you can tell we talked earlier, just about what you put out with Silky and Orbit and Serpent, just being able to be you, especially with Silky, just like you said, showing your skin, just being free within you. I mean, you can tell when you tell that story that, hey, that's what inspired that. Absolutely. So I think that's really dope. So moving forward, when you decided like, hey, this is what I really want to do with myself, how did you prioritize, kind of your budding career? Because you've really taken off, but you're also still in school and you're doing that. So how did you, kind of prioritize singing, and then, deal with, okay, this is going to be something that's going to be a big part of my life?
I might still be figuring that out. With me being in school, I definitely have my stresses. School is hard, and I've learned, I'm in art school, but even art school is exhausting.
Yeah.
But I know I don't have tunnel vision, but I know I'm really focused on music, because I know ultimately I won't be happy doing anything else. So I guess that's how I prioritize. There has been some times where I had to skip a few classes because I had a performance opportunity out of town. And I have no regrets, because ultimately I came into school with the knowing that, you do nothing without intention. And I wasn't set for college. I wasn't pressed about it growing up. I have parents who absolutely allowed me to have space to be creative, and encouraged me that that's not what I want to do. It wasn't something that was forced. So with school, I came in with the agenda of, I'm here to network. That was my ultimate thing. It's not really, I don't care about the goal at the degree at the end. That's not my goal. If I'm only meant to be here from my freshman to junior year, then that's what it's going to be, because I'm here to make an impact. I'm here to meet people and bring people with me. I'm not here to hold a paper. Not
Gotcha.
let me slow down. Not to take away from people who have achieved a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. That motherfucking paper is hard to achieve. Okay, it is still very much an accomplishment. I would like to have my degree, my I would like to have my bachelor's and my master's and shit. But also the real accomplishment is in what you have gained along the way, not the paper. And so I always knew, like, I'm not prioritizing making straight A's like I used to in high school, because my focus has to shift a bit. Like, I'm still holding on to some other things that I'm maintaining, like even paying rent. That's like, something I'm maintaining.
Yeah.
But this is my goal, and you have to see past certain things to get past it. So like with school, at a point I was having straight A's, and I was like, I gotta let go of this having straight A's so that I could really push forward into that over there. So I'm gonna have to let this drop into a B. This is a real thing. I was very stressed out last school year, my junior semester, first half, because that's when like the music really started picking up. I had a trip in Miami to perform, and I'm like, damn, we're having finals and exams, and how am I gonna make this work? And I had to sit with myself and really ask, if you fail and there's a crazy chance that you can't come back to school because your GPA drops for whatever reason, are you willing to take this risk to pursue that? I said, absolutely. Because I'll come back to school. School will be there. Most of the stuff that we're like trying to juggle, it will be there. It will always be there. It's not going anywhere. I said, I'm absolutely willing to drop out if I have to, or to fail a class if I have to. I don't want an F attached to my name. But also, that goes back to those like society standards being put on you.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm focused on this. This is really my priority. And it's above everything else. Because if I can make this work, then I can take care of my mom, who's also a priority. But this priority is going to help me take care of the rest of these priorities, if that makes sense. So I guess it was a moment where I had to literally stack my priorities and see where they lay. And ultimately, like, okay, prioritizing my health is a thing. It's up there because I have to do the vocal rest in order to make sure my music has a long, stretched out career, because I need my voice. I need to make sure that my looks are intact. Not that that's everything, but it does come with the image. I need to make sure that I'm healthy so that I can perform how I need to perform. And I need to make sure I have good stretches going on. I need to make sure my legs bend the way they're supposed to bend so I can move on stage. Little things like that. So I have to prioritize these things so that I can prioritize that up there, which is my music. Ultimately, that's what I'm prioritizing. All of these things are under that umbrella. But with juggling school, I had to really realize fast that school it's something I care about deeply. I would like to finish and accomplish that goal of, that milestone of saying that I graduated from school. It's definitely not easy while trying to do art, though, especially as an independent artist. And, oh Lord, like, I definitely have been the broke college kid. I fortunately I've been blessed to not go into debt, but college is not easy, especially when you're trying to pursue something. But
because we all kind of starving artists, and
we're starving artists, not for long though.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will be very well fed very soon. But yeah, that's how I've been like balancing. I just have to remind myself what my real priority is. Like, even if it breaks it down by day, like, what is my priority today? Is it to respond to these emails that I got about people trying to get me to perform about a show next month? Or is it focusing in class because we got a test that I'm working on? Clearly the test is my priority. I'm not going to step out and try to answer these emails. So there's, I guess you just have to learn how to focus on one thing at a time, and focus on understanding what goes into what, and how it affects these things, and how you can prioritize to help yourself ease into, handling these stuff. Because I think a lot of people get overwhelmed because they don't know how to prioritize, or they don't know how to focus. And I'm guilty of this. I'm still learning. Like, I'm not. There are a lot of times where my messages slip through the cracks because so many people are emailing me and DMing me and texting me and calling me, and I'm like, I'm not about to respond to y'all. I just can't do it today, and I can't do it this week. Now that I really think about it, so I'm gonna text y'all next week. It's just sometimes it's like that, but once you get a hang on it, learning to pace and prioritize and learning what's important in that moment, that helps a lot.
And we definitely gonna dive into that last part in a bit. You know, what was it like for, you growing up as Cleöcrt as far as like your parents are concerned? Because, you know, talk about, how did they help, you know, with you achieving your goals as far as singing?
Well, this is a hard one because I feel like I didn't express me wanting to be like a singer until recently. I've always spoke about it. I've expressed it, but it wasn't to the extent of what I'm doing now, which I think is perfect timing. I know my dad passed away when I was young, so if he was here to this day, I probably wouldn't even be in Cincinnati because my dad was really like that. Like he was pushing. But my mom, they played roles. I think my mom kind of helped in a way. Her method of helping me was different. I don't even think she knows how it was, but she like kind of sometimes she would cap my creativity. Just because we had different viewpoints on a lot of stuff, even down to how I was like dressing. She's a conservative Christian woman, kind of. So, and I'm not. So, where I wanted to show some skin, she's like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And with her putting that cap on my creativity, it just boiled up. So I think she helped us in. Once I was finally released, I exploded.
Yeah.
And now I have this better understanding of seeing like, oh, this is all the shit I didn't get to do when I was younger. Let me pick these pieces up and put it together now. And now I'm forming into who I am. And I think that's how she helped. If that makes sense. I know that like sounds kind of crazy. Like, what do you mean? But basically saying, sometimes, and this is for anybody, sometimes you have somebody in your life who isn't supporting you the way you think they are, but divinely, like through God has a plan for everything. They're supporting you in another way. And they might not know that they're supporting you this way, but trust me, this shit works out how it's supposed to. So my mom not letting me express myself in a certain way when I was younger worked, because now in this moment I'm hell bent on expressing myself, and nobody can take it from me. But I need this because if I was able to express myself when I was younger, it wouldn't look the same.
Yeah.
And whatever this is that I'm doing now works. My dad, like I said, passed away, so I do feel like he still influences me to this day. Like I have his journals, I remember him vividly. We spent many years together, not enough, but we spent time together, so I know who this man was. But I think even now I can feel his spirit.
Yeah.
And like there are some songs that I feel like I look at the lyrics, I'm like, there's no way in hell I wrote that. That sounds like some stuff my dad would say.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, well, you do act like your dad. I'm like, no, this is like some other poetic, like I know something I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah.
I have this unreleased song called A Better Time, and I read these lyrics and I'm puzzled. I remember writing it, but I'm like, and I even know what they mean, but I'm like, what? Why would I say these things? Like, this is like knowledge that I'm not supposed to have. It feels like forbidden knowledge. And I'll drop the song and you'll hear what I'm talking about. It just sounds like I know something that I shouldn't know.
Yeah. As
in, my dad was like behind me, writing for me, like telling me what to say. I felt this way multiple times. So I feel like my parents have definitely influenced me in those ways, just by just being themselves.
Yeah. I think different creatives, like, whether you're a poet, a singer, a rapper, I've had times where I've written things when I was in a certain state of mind, and then, I'll go back and look at it later and I'm like, who wrote this? Like, how did I write this? And so I think with different things that we may go through in life, like whether we lose someone or, maybe we could be feeling depressed or we could be feeling like overjoyed, sometimes we can write something and it's like, man, where did that come from? So, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Now that you are, in a place to where, you were becoming more and more established as a, a singer, a vocalist, just an artist in general, how has that impacted, like your personal life? Like, for example, if you just want to run out to the store, or you know how has you being you impacted your personal life?
Lord have mercy. So I don't know where the blurred line is between my professional and personal life, because I feel like my personal life is very much the thing that is pushing the professional.
Okay.
A lot of people try to separate business from, personal shit,
Yes.
but I don't think people really realize you cannot do business without your personal life being intact. So like they're influenced by each other. There is no real separation. It's definitely a blurry line. But I will say, performing out in at these places and then trying to go run errands, like running into Walmart to stock up on toothpaste, is an errand I no longer would like to do. I finally understand why the superstars stay the hell at home. I went into Walmart, and I guess these are like good problems because they show that I'm working. So these are good problems to have. But I went into Walmart, as I was saying, and there were people in there. They're like, "I know you. You do music. You sing. You're the singer. You're Cleöcrt." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." I'm kind of embarrassed because I was just, this is a 9 o'clock run to Walmart. I kind of look a little crazy. I just woke up. I need some toothpaste. I'm trying not to talk to people. I'm just like, "Yeah, that's me." And they're like, "Oh my God, can we get a picture?" I'm like, "Right now." I can come back. If you just wait right here, I'll come back for you.
Oh my goodness.
And no, really, and they're like, "No, let's just take pictures." And it's funny because the way people operate is there are people who know my music and they're like, "I've seen you perform here. I saw you on stage with this person. So I know you do music. I want to take a picture for whatever reason." And then there are other people who see this crowd gather around me, taking pictures with me, and they don't even know who I am. And they're like, "Who's that? I want to take a picture." And now I have this extra big crowd around me of people who don't even know who I am. They're going to recognize me and remember me though because of how I dress. It's quite unique. But now I remember this lady who had to be at least 80 something, and she was like, "They said you sing," and I was like, "I do, yes ma'am." And she's like, "Well, I want a picture with you," and I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "What kind of music do you do?" I'm like, "I make gospel." I make gospel music. How about that? And she's like, "Oh, my kids probably know you're my grandkids." And I'm like, "Okay." So we take the picture. She was a very sweet lady. We take the picture, but that just happens now, and it happens often. And sometimes I would prefer it to be that because these are people who are showing me love, even if it's not the most genuine. Because they don't really know why they're showing me love.
Right.
But sometimes I go out in public and I'm trying to run errands. Like I might be shopping and then I run into a young lady who, for whatever reason, is struggling with self-love and is projecting on me. So she might know that I make music and I perform, and this actually recently just happened 2 days ago. But she feels inclined to gather her coworkers or people or be just really spiteful towards me just because she knows that I'm trying to do something. I've had people who've been battling with themselves and they'll project that on me. I have the typical jealous woman who is upset that I am showing too much skin or that I get a certain amount of attention from men and women alike, and they take that upon themselves to be like, but one of her locks is sticking up, or like it's just something silly, or like, but that pink doesn't match that pink, or it's just anything like that. So there's been good and bad attention. I kind of treat them the same,
It's funny because you beat me to the punch because that was the next thing I was going to ask you. Why do people hate on Cleöcrt? I mean,
I truly believe. It's funny. Growing up, my mom, I would complain to her about my encounter with people. I come from a family who loved on me, so I never go out in public looking for love because I had it at home. I'm not one of those ladies that's like, "Oh, give me attention because I need it." My mom and dad did that pretty well. I'm pretty self-sufficient in myself. I don't need anything from anybody outside of I would like for my family to love me, but they gave me that and they still did. So my mom would always say, "Don't worry about them. They're hating on you. They're jealous of you. You're a beautiful girl. They're jealous." But my dad, I was also raised to have a little bit of modesty. So you don't want to keep hearing that somebody's jealous of you because it just makes you feel it plants the seed of oh, everybody's jealous of me, and I wasn't really that type of girl. I'm still not. But there is truth to it that I've learned. Because I've been put in positions where people have had to show me that they were indeed envious. And envy is a real thing that I refuse to acknowledge for a long time because I'm never envious. So I didn't know what that looked like because I've never had it for myself.
Yeah.
But seeing how people operate, I'm like, oh, that's what jealousy looks like. That's envy. Now, I could go on and say something like, oh, they're jealous of me because look at me. I could say something like that, but I really feel like it's deeper than that. And I guess it is like they're jealous because they like how my hips are shaped or my waist is shaped and they don't have that. But ultimately, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with what they're going through. You know, they're struggling with self-love, and I wish for everyone to love on themselves, because with people loving on themselves, we can pour into each other. You can't love on people if you don't love yourself. So I want everyone to find love for themselves so that they can pour it into other people, and it can just be an endless cycle of love happening. But a lot of people are struggling with self-love, so they can't love on me. And I don't take it personal too much anymore, because it's like, it can get to you. I won't sit up here and be like, oh, negative words never hurt me, because shit can hurt your feelings. I will say, but it's a level of discipline and understanding, like taking it away from yourself and looking at the bigger picture of, you're not really upset with me because my waist is small. You're not upset with me because I look good, girl. You're not upset with me about that. You're really upset that you're upset, but you're not feeling yourself. It has more so to do with you. And let's take it further. You're really upset that little boy didn't like you when you were younger. It has nothing to do with me. Nothing at all. And once you realize that, like, I get women who try to talk about simple things like my body, for example, or how I dress, and oh, she's looking for attention because, you know, because she has a nice body or a fat ass. Let's just call it what it is. They'll say stuff like that. She's just looking for attention because she has a fat ass. I can't help a guy getting.
Right.
I ain't got nothing to do with your problem with my booty.
Right.
I don't know what to do about that. What do you want me to do? Tuck it in? And like I said, the jealousy is not really with me. They're upset with themselves that they might not have booty. And actually, sometimes they come from women who have bigger booties than me. Yeah. And I'm like, really, they're just not happy with themselves. Yeah. And I come from women who love themselves. My sisters, we're not all built the same. We look the same, but we don't all look the same. Like, we're our own individuals. Have a variety of sisters. Yeah. And they all love themselves. So it helps me to love myself, because I didn't have to worry about my sisters being jealous of me.
You are your environment. Yeah,
you really are. You're part of your environment. So I didn't have to worry about my sisters being spiteful to me. So it helped me to love myself. And in return, I was able to admire my sisters and love them. And then I go out in the world and give that same love to other women. And for a long time, I struggled understanding why this wasn't a thing, because I didn't know that a lot of women were struggling with this for many reasons. Whether it was they didn't have their dad in the home, or their mom was jealous, and you're a product of your environment. But once I learned that, I'm like, oh, I come from a place of love. And now I can offer you more grace, because you didn't have that growing up, and I wish you love. Like, you didn't have what I had. I didn't even know that was a gift, because it was just there. It just was something I was in. Like, I just had love. I didn't even know that it was something to be appreciated. Yeah. Now that I see people operate in a way of like survival, or out of jealousy and envy, I'm like, wow, I don't operate like that. And I'm like, why don't I operate like that? Like, what is this difference between you and I? I'm like, oh, my mom and dad loved on me. Yeah. Or sometimes your mom and dad does love on you, and it's other outside, other reasons. But I'm like, I come from love though, and you're struggling with that because it's something you lack. So it allows me to offer them grace. Back to your question of why do people hate on Cleöcrt? It's a self issue. It has nothing to do with me. Nothing.
I like that. As an artist, how important is prioritizing self-care?
As a human, it is extremely important to prioritize.
I just say as an artist, just because of just who you are, and I seen that you made a Facebook post, just about needing some time,
Cool. Absolutely. I think it is more imperative than people would like to realize. I am a go type of person, just because people are constantly trying to book me. Being in high demand is something I have prayed for, so I'm thankful. But it also forced me to realize, like, wow, I'm in high demand right now. I can't keep up with giving you this amount of quality performances if I don't take the time to recharge?
Yes.
And God, like, if you don't take your time to recharge, God is going to force you to recharge. Your body is going to force it. So I started not to feel good, and you know, it was my body telling me, you need to sit the hell down. Like, you need to sit down. Because I will work. I'm very goal driven. I will go. And, you know, it'll be something little. I'm pretty healthy, but my body will say, like, look, if I got to make you sick, I will. Because it's going to be for your better good. And, you know, I was going back. I look at all of my performances, and I look at my work. I stalk my work to see where I can improve. I'm in competition with myself all the time. So I'm looking like, what can I do to make this better? And I looked at a performance, and I was like, it was good, but it wasn't as good as that one.
Right.
And that one was before this one. So this one should be way better than that. And I'm like, okay, I can see the quality. People might not feel this way because they're like, no, you did amazing, but I know myself. I'm like, no, I know that I could have did that better.
Yes.
And that's my body telling me, look, I'm slowing down. If you don't stop, we're gonna crash.
Yeah.
Look, pay attention to these signs. You seen that you didn't move as much during that show like you did that one. That was a sign.
Yeah.
You need to relax. So it's imperative in anything, but as an artist, to take that break, because you cannot create that quality art. And I know some people do make beautiful art when they're depressed or when they're tired, but truthfully, there is no type of art like the art when you're inspired. And being inspired comes from being energized. It's a battery. It really is. Like, you have to get rest, even if you're not sleepy. Because I talk to some artist friends, and they're like, oh, I'm not sleepy. I don't sleep for real. I don't get sleepy. And I'm like, being sleepy and tired are two different things. You literally need to close your eyes and rest, yes, but also you need to, like, take some time to not do shit. Even if you are awake, don't do anything, because that's another way to be productive. And I just had to learn that.
It's interesting because even a machine needs to rest.
It does.
You know, you have to turn off a machine. Your cell phone has to be recharged. Like, you know, it's all of these different things.
I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right. Even these computers, they have to hell, my fan had the nerve to die. Yeah. In the car. I had to recharge it.
Yes.
You
got to reboot. You got to recharge. You have to, you know, do all of these things. Yeah. And, you know, speaking as a fellow artist who has gone through burnouts and who has dealt with things, it typically occurs when it's like it's back to back to back to back, and you don't get any time to actually have to yourself. So, you know, that's why I feel like, you know, that is so important. Yeah. Getting back into the artistry, you know, I love talking about artistry. And it's interesting, I asked this because a while ago I seen, you know, Brent's make a post about this, and, you know, and I've asked him about this. If you could choose, and we're going to narrow it down to Cincinnati. If you could choose a couple of people who you would like to make a collaboration album with, and they can rap, they can sing, they can do poetry, whatever, who would you choose? I'll give you a second to think about it, because you know, there's so many dope, you know, create right here in Cincinnati.
I feel like I'm about to hurt somebody's feelings.
Well, I mean, it's not the only people, but it's just like, who comes to mind that you would
what Brent
like
say?
to...
I'm curious.
Huh?
What Brent say?
Well, I know he said that he wanted to collab on an album with you.
Yeah.
So, so who would you like to collab with? I mean, and it could be one person, it could be two, but just, you know, who are you a fan of in Cincinnati?
Just in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, some people that I really admire art-wise. I definitely admire Brent's, but I'm gonna leave him out of this just because I know I saw that post about him wanting to collaborate, and he knows I'm down. I'm game for that anytime.
Yes.
I really admire. See, I'm such a critic. I go into like people. I go into people's work ethic and their artistry. Some people produce really nice art, but their work ethic doesn't match, and it turns me off. But I'll name some people that I'm like, I really appreciate their artistry. Like I like what I've heard. Banks. Okay. I like the music he produces. It just feels good. I like how it sounds.
Yeah.
Simple as
Same
that.
here.
I like how it sounds.
Same here.
There are a few singers that I'm like, this is some dope shit.
Yeah.
There is a lady, I don't know if you actually probably have you heard of Tiana D?
Sound familiar.
Okay, well I'll get you hip to some of her stuff afterwards.
Okay.
I made a connection with her. She's a sweetheart. I love what she does as well. But I want to collaborate with her in different ways. So like for me, my collaboration might not be us featuring with each other back to back, but it's like, I just want you here to do this the entire time. I know it sounds crazy, but like with somebody like, you said just in the city.
Yes. Yeah, it gotta be Cincinnati.
Okay, it gotta be Cincinnati. I'm already so bad at names. Why you do this to me?
I mean, you could one more person.
I'm about to describe faces. This girl with she has like red hair. No, but no, because I'm so bad at names. There are a few. I would like to collaborate with the poets of Cincinnati on a project. I literally want to make. I'm gonna save that thought, but I want to collaborate with some poets. I've done my collaboration with Zeta. I would love to do a project with her fully through. Same thing with Brianna Davis, but she goes by Bad. And yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking like, oh, what could I do? I'm even thinking of like some dancers of collaborating in that way because I'm a performing artist as well.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to think about this a lot.
Okay,
I have some people that I have people who come to mind,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to answer this with intention of like not just throwing names out there.
Yeah,
to just be
actually,
like, oh, I want to
yeah.
collaborate with them. Because you said a full project, and I need to know. I need to know that I can trust their art and creative intuition. So before I really answer this, I want to revisit this question.
Okay.
I did this to you last time. You asked me a question. I was like, I'm coming back to that.
So, you know, kind of bridging the gap with that, how did you feel about my farewell voicemail?
Ooh, I loved it from top to bottom. You thought you had me, though. You thought you had me. Nobody's ever broken up with me. It's Mission Impossible. No, but I loved it. I think like the background of it is funny where you asked me to be a part of it and you said not to put my name in it, and I'm like, you know, because of what you said, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it anyways.
Don't say that.
I'm gonna do it anyways. So I'm putting my name in it, and then it's like you breaking up with me, like with Cleöcrt. Like I had to actually hear like you're breaking up with Cleöcrt,
Yeah.
because that's never happened. Nobody's ever broken up with Cleöcrt. Granted, nobody could get in a relationship with Cleöcrt, but nobody's had that opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's just like for me, it was like, whoo. But I like what you said, and I'm like, okay. I have a thing or two to say. You know, I'm gonna get the last word.
Well, it's just interesting because, you know, just a little bit more background on it. You know, I had the concept for what I wanted to do with this. I wanted it to be something different. And so, you know, I'm sitting in the studio with my producer Vibe One, and I'm just like, you know, man, I wanna do this voicemail track. And to be honest, I don't even know what made me write it. It's just sometimes, I mean, and you can relate. You'll have a thought, or you may see something or hear something, and it's like, man, I want to write about this. And so, you know, I write a lot about love. You know, I write a lot about romance and things like that. But, you know, a part of love and a part of romance is people break up. You know, things happen. And so I'm like, man, I want to do this. So I was like, well, maybe we can, you know, have an operator on there, you know, to lead me into the voicemail. And he's like, you know, what would really be dope is if, you know, because you need to start collabing with people. I mean, literally my first couple projects, I literally was on tracks by myself. And, you know, and of course, you know, I had Doo-Wop do an interlude for me, but it was always me. And he's like, you know, it'd be nice if, you know, you knew someone who had like a real nice voice and who could, you know, lend that voice to this track, you know, it'll really bring it to life. And so I'm like, oh, I got the perfect person. And of course, you know, you one of the busiest artists I know. Lord. So it took a little minute, but you know, we got it done.
It took a minute.
And you know, and it was perfect timing, and you know, in the studio, and you know, we working on something else, and I'm like, oh, I said, Cleöcrt just came through. So, we switched over and put that down and worked on that. And, I think it ended up being fire.
Yeah.
And, definitely got something coming for the people on my upcoming album where, we gonna kind of had an aftermath of, okay, what happened after that voicemail? Because let's be honest, is a shitty thing to do, break up with somebody on a voicemail.
Yeah.
And rarely does it happen where two people break up. It doesn't matter how the breakup happened, whether it was face to face, through text message, through voicemail. They normally have a conversation afterwards. It's rarely ever, okay, we broke up, we're never speaking again. Typically there's some type of dialogue after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this track is going to be all about. It's just a back and forth dialogue, and of course I have to respond poetically, and she has to respond vocally, and I just can't wait for you all to see just how she responded, how she let me have it so elegantly, so vocally,
elegantly.
Yeah. So can't wait for that. You all will be getting that on my birthday, September 22nd. But let's talk about what's coming on your birthday.
Well,
August the 3rd,
yeah.
Right? I mean, we right here. So
we right here.
Yeah.
In just 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm going to show people what I have been working on that means so much to me. I've been working on a lot of things, but I always try to keep my music intact to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have their opinions about me, as in I am this sweet girl, and I am, but a sweet girl that can easily be pushed with and played with, and I don't like that idea of me. So what I'm doing with this project is officially talking my shit. And it's funny because even me saying talking my shit is such a foreign sound to come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like I know people be shocked, like, what? Cleöcrt said shit? But
Mm-hmm.
It's me kind of reclaiming the dark side of my feminine energy. Not just the dark side, but the rage. That specifically, because dark doesn't mean rage per se, but I'm covering the rage. So we'll have a highly anticipated track on this project that people have been asking me to put out for at least years now. I don't even know. Ever since I wrote this song,
Mm-hmm.
people are like, when are you dropping it? I'm like, never, ever, 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 ever. But I officially decided to include it, and it's going to be dropping. So I'm fighting the urge to say the name. Can you guess it? Stay on the subject of rage and me being mad and talking my shit.
I don't know. I think though that you should leave it as a surprise.
Okay.
I don't even think that you should let them know. I mean,
I'm
to
not.
me,
You know what?
it's more incentive for them to go listen.
You're right.
So I think that's a good idea. To have the you need to go listen. You need to listen to the entire project. And I mean, my question about that is this a deeper dive into Serpent?
It's not actually, because that's why I wanted to separate that. So Serpent is the dark feminine. Me still being graceful though. I'm still very graceful in this dark feminine. With the rage feminine, as in having my right to be angry. This is more of, what would this fit? You might not have heard. Actually, you've taken a listen to the project that was dedicated to my brother. For him, it's dedicated. There's a track on there called "Taken for Granted," and it's very angry.
Mm-hmm.
This is more like that.
Okay.
But in a sassier way. This is I'm talking my shit respectfully.
Yeah.
And it's I'm turning 21, so it's that kind of. It's not a party album per se, but it's time to kind of live it up a bit.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm gonna stay true to myself and remain in my feminine. I'm not gonna come out of my character and you know, be riding through the hood cussing bitches out. Like, I'm not gonna do that. But I'm still gonna remain true to myself, but also express that anger. Like, you know, I heard you talking stuff about me. Here's what I have to say about that. I know you're waiting for me to respond via Instagram or via text or on social media. Nah, I put it in the song. Take a listen to it. This is what I have to say. And you know, it addresses a lot of what some of the things I've been going through. And I can be subliminal. I definitely have that feminine take of my subtle aggression. You know, like, you ever met a woman that was passive aggressive? Like, we do petty things. I am guilty of that, I will say. Although I'm not petty, it more so comes off as I'm really slick with my words. So like, I put that into my music. And this is really what this project is about. It's just about me letting you know that I'm not to be fucked with in any element. And I mean that. Let me just repeat that. I'm not to be fucked with. I'm not to be fucked with.
You know, I think people take your kindness for weakness, and because you know, you got the real soft, like, sweet voice, like, you come off, you know, really nice, like, you don't seem like you will harm a fly. And I think that instead of people saying, oh man, you know, that's dope, you know, that she's this sweet or whatever, they try to take advantage of that. So I think that this is something that is probably well needed.
I'll stump the fuck out of a fly. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually terrified of flies. Like, I will not kill them. I run from them.
Stop.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm actually very scared of flies. So really, they torment me. I don't mess with them. But just kidding though. But yeah, you're right. I've noticed that. And I don't want to come out of who I am, of who I was raised to be, like, you know, this gentle person. I don't want anybody to be able to have that power to take me out of that. I fight so hard to remain in my femininity of being gentle. But sometimes you do have to stand up for yourself. You do have to let the anger, you know, come out a bit. You do have to let that rage do what it needs to do. It is, I don't think anger should be shoved and pushed down and like, no, I'll never be angry. No, express that anger. I don't want to, like, have to resort to the type of violence that people do in the streets, but you know, I have to express my rage as well. And a lot of people do think that because I choose to be gentle. I think that's what they forget. It's not that I only can be gentle. I'm choosing this.
Right.
I'm choosing to be graceful with you. I'm choosing to be polite about this situation. It can go multiple ways.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was raised to have some class. I really was. I was raised to have some composure. I was raised to be a lady. And those are the things that I choose and would like to do. But at the same time, I'm not to be fucked with.
So you are turning, you know, you're turning 21. And this is kind of like a two-part question.
Yeah.
So with the first part of it is, what is your assessment of your creativity before turning 21? And then the second half of that question is, you know, now that you are on the cusp of turning 21, what can we expect that we haven't seen from you thus far?
It's a beautiful question. I think what people can expect is to not know what to expect. I am fully embracing on the term of don't put me in a box.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people got introduced to me when I was putting out a neo soul project, so they think that that's all I do. I hear people all the time like, oh, I know this girl, she's amazing, she does neo soul. And I'm like, well, that's your fault when I don't come to this show doing neo soul. Because that's not all I do. I'm an artist. I create music, I create art, I create an experience. And, you know, really, I don't even think I make funk.
Okay.
So, you know, I like to, because I make blues, I make jazz music. I make a lot of pop and rock and roll songs, actually. They just haven't released yet. You know? Like I said, I'm writing 10 songs a day. There's no way all of that can only be neo soul.
One genre,
It just can't. I don't think it can be. But I make art. So I think people should know, one thing, like I said the last time, I think people should know about me is to don't get yourself disappointed by thinking that I'm one thing. I'm not just one thing. Like, I'm not just a neo soul singer, because at any given moment I'm gonna start rapping. I'm gonna start rapping. Like, I also
I'm kind of a rebel. My mom will tell you this. I have, like, the moment I know that you are projecting on me and putting me in a box, I will intentionally do the quite opposite. Like, if I know that you think I'm a singer, and like, I am a singer, don't get me wrong, I'm not against labels. Like, I'm not one of the people like, don't label me, but also, like, just know that I'm capable of doing other things. So, like, you know, if I know that you're like, oh, you only do neo soul, you can't do this, that, and the other, I'm intentionally going to put out a rap album. I'm going to put out a rock and roll project. I'm going to get my guitar, and I'm going to play it and show you that I can make rock. Like, and it's not to prove myself to you guys, because I know myself. Y'all don't know me.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I want people to always remember that you don't know me. You know the art, and you're getting to know me. You will forever be getting to know me. Because I'm going to be forever getting to know myself. We're growing. We're forever growing. I hope we are, right? We're all evolving.
Absolutely.
So, don't ever get stuck in the idea of, nope, this is what she does. Because I'm going to be over here when you still living over here. Like, I'm over here making trap music. Just for example. And, you know, this is where I am. I'm growing. So, that's something they can expect. So, I guess what they can expect is to be surprised.
Okay, I'm with
and
that.
It might go back to neo soul. Like, I love R&B. I love music. So it might go back to me putting out another neo soul project, or it might go to me literally doing something pop that's for the radio.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Never
whatever
know.
I'm feeling. You just never know.
Yeah.
Hell, I also think it's important for people to not get caught up in my appearance. This is my most comfortable style of dress, just because I don't like clothes. I love them, love to look at them, but I don't like wearing them. But sometimes. And I will say, I've had an emo goth era phase, so like I might resort back to that in December. Who knows?
Okay.
Just because I like to do stuff. I'm an artist. I just like to to play with the means of what it means to be an artist. So yeah.
Oh, and you're not getting out of that first part of that question. I mean, because you are your own biggest critic. Like, just so far, you know. How do you assess yourself? Like, I'm gonna give you a grading scale.
Okay.
Since you are in college, A to F. How do you feel like you grade your creative career thus far?
Not to sound condescending, but I give myself an A for this reason. There are works that I have put out, and I listen to them now, and I'm like, okay, the quality might not be there just because of how I went about recording it, but one thing I've always done is put my best foot forward. At the time, like when I did my brother's project, I was in a state of grief.
Yeah.
I did not have the energy or the funds because I wasn't working. I was too depressed to go to the studio and record everything professionally.
Yeah.
To this day, I still think For Him Is Dedicated is the purest album I've ever created, just because of what it means.
Yes.
And with that, I can give myself an A and say, you did the best that you could at the time.
I like the way it starts, just, you know, with the kind of the back and forth, you know.
The conversation.
Yes, yes, I love that. Like, you know, and just listening to that, it just made it, I think it was the perfect way to begin that album, just because it puts you in that frame of mind. Like, okay, I get where this is going. And so, you know, I felt that, and I felt like you did an excellent job with
Thank
that.
You. Yeah, so I give myself an A. There are some things where I'm like, I can do better on that. And in those areas, I might give myself a B. But if we're going on a grading scale of my overall grade for the semester, I guess, I would say I deserve an A.
Because it is a semester. It's only a short amount of, you know, time. You got years on top of years to go. So this is just one semester. Yeah,
I think, you know, during that semester of me first starting to perform up until now, A+. I've done exactly what I needed to do. People know my name. The work is out. I'm highly, you know, like, anticipated. People are booking me. So I think I did what I needed to do and what I could do within that time frame. So I give myself an A. I do think, like, some people think they're giving their all and they could be doing so much more.
Yes.
And somebody might say, you could have done so much more, but truly, I did what I really could.
Yes.
I remember how hard I was working. I was out all the time, doing exactly what I needed to do, promoting, making posts all the time. So I think I deserve an A.
That's a job.
Oh, Lord. Yes.
It's a job.
So I think I deserve the A. I think I would grade myself an A. I'm excited to see what I do this next semester because I know I now have that experience from that first semester.
Yes.
And, you know, even now, I'm still fresh to this. It's funny because I'm going to be looking at this interview 20 years from now. I'm like, oh, I'm such a baby. And I had no idea what I was talking about. And now that I'm 40,
yes,
that shit sound like, girl, you deserve to be. You could have did so much. I don't know what I'll be saying in 20 years, but I know that with what I have right now, with the tools that I have right now and the knowledge I have right now, I would give myself an A.
I mean, you really, when you say that, it just, that mentality puts me in the mind of Will Smith, just because I was watching something and he was talking about just his performance on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I mean, that's just a show that everybody loves, you know.
Yeah.
But he said he felt like he did terrible. He said he cringed when he goes back and watches it.
How dare you, Will?
He says it, but I think it's just him being his own toughest critic and him looking at, okay, I graduated from where I was. I mean, this was my first gig. I graduated from that. So when I listen to you and you're saying, hey, 20 years from now, I may give myself a B because, you know, obviously you will be done grown light years from, you know, where you are currently, where we're sitting, you know, talking now. We'll be looking back at this, you know, 20 years from now, like, wow, like, what was I doing? That was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, even though at the time it was great, but you're going based, it's always that thing of, if I knew then what I know now. It's always one of those things. So
yeah, I probably still would give myself an A though, because I'm pretty aware of, like, you know, putting our best foot forward. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 10'5". You know, everybody, including me. I mean, because I know if I'm asking, everybody is asking. Please tell us what is 10'5" about? I mean, are you got some secret 10'5" man or something around here? Like, where does 10'5" come from?
You know, if you don't mind, I'm pulling up the lyrics because I like to quote stuff.
Absolutely.
10'5" started off as a freestyle. I was out at this hookah lounge and it was blasting and I could not focus. I was getting sensory overload and my way of escaping from that sometimes is to get in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I met this guy, he was 10'5", and that was it. But at the end of that I was like, because I liked how that sounded.
Yeah.
And I even liked the even though that wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
And I was like, we caught a vibe, saw his soul within his eyes, and I was like, Like, I just kept saying, every time I say that, I would just add the I'm like, oh, girl, you spitting. Yeah. And then someone told me, like, you need to be writing this down. Like, you need to go record this. So I went to the bathroom, and I just literally put out my camera and was, like, trying to remember what I was saying. But I wrote everything, or not wrote everything, I recorded everything. It was like, I met this guy. And we got through the whole song, and I went home that night and was like, whatever that was that I was singing, that felt good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't mind me reading the lyrics before I tell you what it's about.
Go ahead.
Okay. I met this guy. He was 10'5". We caught a vibe. Saw his soul within his eyes. Went to a height. Didn't know that I could fly. He got me right. It was only for a night. Was so extraordinary. Straight out the ordinary. Energy was kind of scary. That's the kind of guy I married. He approached me kind of shy, said, I don't do this all the time, but can you make time tonight? Can I come into your life? I replied, why not? I don't really do a whole lot. Gotta give the best you got. If you're fighting demons, then baby, hell nah. Let's spin the clock, spend some time, secrets unlocked. How you move leaves me in shock. I can tell just by your walk. What you did to me, couldn't see it coming. That's a deadly thing. Benevolent, I sensed it in your energy. So I'ma let the spirit guide you close to me. Come close to me. You're so encaptivating. I see the world you're cultivating. What can I do to activate this vision of yours that you're creating? I'm just trying to amplify. Maybe you can visit all the time. And you got the candid eye. The ancestors must be on standby. And then it goes into the chorus again.
I love it.
Thank you. Now,
that's deep.
Thank you. Now, this is like a triple entendre. So, obviously, we are talking about a man that is tall in height, but that's the surface. The second layer of that is sex.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people would perceive it as in, oh, she's talking about somebody with a long Peter, like, you know, somebody with a with you know, some business to handle. But down to the core, what I'm really talking about. This is why it's so beautiful that music and art can have these layers to peel back. Because I'm talking about all three of these things. Yeah. Obviously, I haven't met any man that's 10 for 5. If y'all know him, I want to meet him. But, you know, I love all men. So the 10 for 5 is really an exaggeration. It just sounds good. It's right. But also, it needs to be 10 for 5. It can't be 6 foot 5 because that's too realistic. Somebody can be 6 foot 5 and they're like, the song's about me. Nobody's 10 foot 5.
Yeah.
Like, so who is the song really about? Now, down to the core, this song is really about a spiritual giant. Somebody I can manifest with, somebody I can talk to, because I am a conversation junkie. I don't know if y'all can tell by this interview, but I can talk. Like, I'll just go on and on and on. Somebody has to tell me to shut up.
I mean, it's like, shoot, we sat and talked off camera.
You know, we talked off camera for 2 hours before the interview even started. I'm like, oh, Lord, look at the time.
I mean, we did it after the last interview. We sat for about 2 hours after that interview.
Talk.
So, yeah.
That's a good thing, but I'm a conversation junkie. It's same thing that I was saying that we can go somewhere. I love intimacy. I love pleasure. Pleasure is my birthright. I love physical pleasure. I love mental pleasure. I love to talk to people and see where they're at. I love being stimulated in those ways. I love stimulation. Mental stimulation is also peak though. And that's what this is about. It's about a spiritual giant, a man that I can trust blindly. Like somebody I really can fall into and trust them. And we can talk and have conversations about, you know, what's up in the sky or where we come from, what are we made of, what's here, what are we here for, things like that. What can I do to help amplify your life force? You know, my life force is incredible, but what can I do to help you amplify yours? What can I do to amplify your might? How can I play this role for you? It's really about that, like, how can we grow? So it's like, didn't know that I could fly. He got me right. It was only for a night. It's like this high. I need to do that again. I need to go have this conversation with this man again, because he mentally uplifted me so much that I now have been open to seeing things that I didn't even imagine before. The conversation was that pure. I've been told through people that, like, you know, after speaking with you about, you know, certain things, I'm thinking differently. That's a beautiful compliment to me, because it lets me know that your mind is capable of being opened. That's wonderful. And also that my words have the ability to make you think. So I love hearing when people can't figure out what the hell my song is right off rip, because I don't want it to be right in your face. Think about it. So 10 for 5 is one of my favorite songs right now that's going to be on an upcoming project. I know everybody's like, when is it coming out? I'm not telling y'all yet, but it's going to come. But yeah, so 10 for 5 is about, you know, being good in bed, of course, because that's something I'm big on. Like, you know, we love sex. It's about physicalities of this man, but those aren't like the main important things. It's really about that spiritual giantness that he possesses. 10 for 5, like, you know, our heads are in the clouds. We can see things that other people can't see. We're thinking. And that's something I'm big on. I won't let people touch me if we can't think together. That's really disgusting to me. There's no point of it. I'm not trying to have, you know, people carry things. And I mean energies. I mean,
I know what you mean.
All kind of things though. Like people, let's talk. I need to see who you are first before you can enter me. And that's why I love 10 for 5 so much, because it's like, it was only for a night. We talked and we did things. We got intimate, but we got intimate. Like, we got intimate, mentally intimate. And I think that's a beautiful thing, so.
Give a sneak peek of that project. I know we got one that is coming in 2 days, but you say that you're not giving a release date, but give a sneak peek to the project.
Now, what kind of sneak peek would you like?
Just tell them what inspired that the project that 10 for 5 is going to be on.
10 for 5 is inspired by the previous project, We Can Go Somewhere. Once again, I am showing you where we can go. This project, so after the one that drops in 2 days on the 3rd, on my birthday. There will be another project to come out later this year. And it is the sequel to, I don't even like to use the word sequel, it is the official answer to We Can Go Somewhere. It is titled Where Are We Going? And it's going to let you know where we're going. And maybe it never ends. Maybe the journey never ends. So maybe I continue to put out part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 for the rest of my life. Yeah. And I'm perfectly fine and prepared to do that. But 10 for 5 will be on the project Where Are We Going? Along with some other beautiful songs. I'm really excited to put this one out specifically because you can just imagine 10 for 5 is like such a dum 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 dum. Like just everything about it, from the beat to the lyrics to the flow, it's so captivating. And there would be some beautiful tracks on there that pay homage to the original, like to the first We Can Go Somewhere. And then, but it expands so much further. So I feel like We Can Go Somewhere was a warm up. And then Where Are We Going is going to be the real deal. Not to say that We Can Go Somewhere wasn't, but Where Are We Going is like, it's going to be, look, that's a project, okay?
Listen, I know patience is a virtue, but I mean, come on now. Like, I wouldn't be mad at you if you put it out on the same day. You know,
you want to know something that's crazy? I thought about it, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it.
Just make us full. I mean, they get this interview. They get all of this music. I mean, you know, just full.
I'm gonna do something for you, just because I like you and you asked. So I'm gonna do that for you, but it ain't gonna be the full project. Trust me, because it is the worth. It is worth waiting for. It is.
Just give us a taste. Give us a taste.
I'll give y'all something. There's gonna be something for sure. Because that 10 for 5 is amazing. It's different. Oh my God! And I can confidently say that each and every song on Where Are We Going, which will drop after this next project, it's beautiful. It truly is. It reminds me of what it means to make music and to be an artist, because it's like, no matter what genre of music you listen to, this is going to speak to you. There is going to be at least, I'm going to say 4 songs, not just one. There's going to be at least 4 songs on this project that you can't get out of your head. 10 for 5 being one of them. There's this song on there called Reluctant to Give the Name, because I'm stingy, and I'm like, no, I want to keep all the information to myself. But there's
give them a mic drop exclusive.
Okay, I got you. There's a song on the Where Are We Going project that is titled because y'all, I just it's a lot. It's coming. So there is When You Need It, Factual, and those 2 songs that play right back to each other. It's like the story they tell and the switch that they give is like, whoa. And they take you from there. Same thing with it's just so compact. Mercy. And I showed you that.
Yes.
And you know, I'm thinking about putting Mercy out as it's just such a,
I love it.
It's got that Timberland vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, people are going to be like, for me, because I've had people ask this question, they're like, how do you take something that gives that Timberland R&B, like, baby girl? Yeah, like, but also, like, make it neo soul, but, like, it's not. It's just, and that's why I'm really excited for this project, because it's just, I don't know, words elude me for this project. It's just really going to be amazing.
I'm just glad I got the exclusive.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, it's fire. It's fire. This question right here, I'm just, real curious to know. So, because I know everybody's writing process is different, but when you're writing, as far as when you're collabing with somebody, what does that writing process look like for you?
When I'm collaborating with someone.
What does the writing process for that look like?
I guess it's way more intense. When people ask me to collaborate, I'm always honored. I think it's a beautiful thing when two or more gathered. So I try to take my time and really intensely listen to what I'm being presented with. I know there are some stories where people are like, I sent the track and they sent me a verse back the same day, and that's great. But I'm going to sit on my shit because I wanted to really entail something for you. I don't want to just give you something I can come up with in 30 seconds.
Right.
And I can come up with something in a minute and it'd be amazing, but I can come up with something that might take a month and it'd be extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I'd rather give you the extraordinary because I really like to operate with intention. I don't want to do anything without intention. Like, oh, you sent me the song. Okay, I got a verse for you. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. There are a lot of cases where I know exactly what I want to do, but I'm still going to sit on it because with patience, beautiful things unfold, and I'll listen to it over and over again without my verse and with the verse or whatever I'm collaborating in, and I'll hear things. Like sometimes I'll write a verse for it and I'm like, this is perfect. And then I'll take my verse out and I'll listen to them all again without mine. And I'll come up with a whole different flow. And I'm like, now, what can I do with this? I have two different flows. I'll mash them. And I'm so glad that I didn't just send you one thing.
Yeah. Because
you would have been hell-bent on that. And I knew I could do something better.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot more patient when I'm collaborating with people. With myself, I'm not so patient with myself. I try to be, but it's like, I know myself. So it's like, no, girl, get this done. Do this, that, and the other. Be ready. But with other people, I'm like, I want to give them the best. I want to give myself the best as well. But, I want my work to speak highly for me. So I don't want you to just have a half-assed verse of me out of breath or just putting shit together that rhymes. No, if I need a few more days to think about how this shit can be clever, I'm going to take my days. I'm not just trying to put some stuff together that rhymes. Even if you don't know what it means off rip. Like, there are I write in a very poetic form, so there are a lot of stuff that I put together and people are like, you have to explain this to me. I'm not sure what it means off rip. And that's fine because there's nothing wrong with sitting with something and letting it dissect. So with collaborations, I like to, one, dissect their work. Like, what are you trying to display? What are you trying to get across to me?
Yeah. And
how should I respond? Like, should I actually respond to you? Should I agree with you and that be my response? Or should I amplify what you're saying? Like, how can I make this better? How can I amplify this and really show that I was a necessary part of this project and I'm not just here taking up space? Although I'm confident in my artistry and I know that I create great music and great art, and that even if I was to have acid words, it would probably be very appreciative by a lot of people, but I would know. And that wouldn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
I would know that that's half-assed, and I'm like, I wouldn't be okay with that. So I'm a lot more patient. I move slower with it. Hence is why, outside of me being busy, like, and sometimes I literally can't jump on it immediately.
Yes.
Same thing with the farewell voicemail. I have to really sit about how I want to go about this. I think about everything. Like, what do you want from me? You wanted my voice you wanted somebody with a softer voice, and somebody who was more soft-spoken.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I need to make sure that I am in an environment where I can be heard, because I do actually speak soft. Like, even during this whole interview, I have been projecting because my natural speaking voice is like this. And most times people can't hear that. Like, it's just really soft. So.
Well, thanks for making me feel and look like an asshole for breaking up with somebody on a voicemail where their voice sounded like so soft.
Well, that's my own speaking voice. I mean, you asked for that, so you made yourself look like an asshole.
Oh my God.
You didn't have to break up with me. You did not have to break up with me.
Oh my God. So, of course, I know that you've written so many songs. Some are released, a lot are unreleased. As far as your released music, what would you say is your favorite song?
Oh Lord, have mercy.
and I know it's different from day to day. So right now, and right now, with how what's your favorite song?
Okay. Let me pull up my songs, because I write that much. I'm like, what's out? I don't even know.
Oh man.
Lord have mercy. I write too much.
Well, my favorite song by you, I could just put that out while you're finding it. My favorite song by you, and it's just because I like the change, and I told you this last time, because I'm really torn when it comes to the EP We Can Go Somewhere, but the album version of Tunga, I love the way it starts. Instead of, with the single, it's like you just go straight into it. But with the album version, oh my God, like it's just the way it starts. Right? It's like it can stay on repeat. It's like, ooh, yes, I love it. So that's my favorite. Currently, I don't want to speak on what's coming in a couple days or what's coming later on this year. So we just talking about right now. Right now, I would say album version of If Tunga. I
had to pick for myself what my favorite release song is right now,
yes,
I'm going to go with "Forever Love."
Okay.
Off of my For Him It's Dedicated project.
Yes. Okay.
That song is so beautiful to me. The whole project is, like, even the anger, the sorrow, the tracks where you can actually hear me crying, and then the happy tracks where I'm laughing in the background. But that Forever Love song, it speaks for my dad and my brother, and it's like, everything about it, like, it's just different. I for a long time, Silky might have been it because I'm sensual and I'm always in tune with my womanness. But even stepping aside from that, Forever Love has taken a cake. And I'm sorry, let me just. Do you mind? Okay. It's just. I love that strum of the guitar.
Yes.
But also I love harmonizing with myself. Like I love hearing the runs and the riffs and all of that. So I think the way that I kind of bring that in is like just so beautiful. I could like listen to that all the time. And it's like, it's not a sad song, so it's not detrimental to my mental health to be listening to. It's just, it feels good. It's like, I'm acknowledging this loss, but also I'm okay. And so I love what it means. I love what it means for me. I love what it represents. And I love that I was able to put my brother and father together.
Yes.
Because they mean so much to me. And I genuinely think the song is beautiful. Like, just the sound alone. Mind you, I recorded, in case you didn't know, the whole For Him It's Dedicated project was recorded off of my phone. I think for that to be recorded off my phone, especially with me being a singer and I have different vocals that I have to mix and master, without this shit being mixed and mastered, I think this sounds amazing. Like, there's no mixing in it, there's no mastering done. It's just me. It's like this is the one project I can say people are getting me.
Yes.
As in, there's no in between. Like, remember I had brought that up between, like, when I'm performing and there's some in between space of, like, left up to expectation and assumption. This project, there's nothing. I was very vulnerable on this, even down to the descriptions that I left on YouTube. I'm telling you exactly where I was. And it's coming straight from me to you. Like, there's no middleman in this. There's no engineer that was able to tweak my shit and make it sound a different way or cut out some stuff. Nope. Everything is in there. Like I said, there's even songs on this project where I'm crying in the background. And I left it as it is.
And it's dope because as creatives, I think we use our phones more than people even understand. I mean, I've written 2 books off of my phone. You said that you recorded an entire project off of your phone. We have our phones with us all the time. In your previous interview, you talked about how, you may be in a class or you may be somewhere and it's like, shoot, I got to get this down real quick. And you'll go to the bathroom and record.
Yep.
Is with your phone. That phone that, we pay all this money for definitely is a full investment. It is an investment into our creative careers.
It could be a tool if we know how to use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. So, only I know this, but, you rolled up here, blasting LL Cool J. I love it though, but, I'm standing out there, I'm like, oh, no, don't turn it off. Like, but, speaking of LL Cool J, just as far as because I asked you about Cincinnati. So as far as someone who you don't know, who you've never met before, who would you like to feature on one of your songs? And it could be anybody.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive? Prince. I could see that, honestly.
Oh my God.
I could see that. With your creativity, your style, the way you're able to switch it up, all of those things, I could definitely see a collab.
I would, if it's not my dad, because I would love to have his vocals on the track, it would be Prince. I don't know what it is about that man. His artistry, I am so in love with the art that he created, in the ambiance of everything that he left behind for us to enjoy.
Yes. I
have been a fan. I wasn't I know I'm young, so I know he's past my generation, but I wasn't a fan after he passed away. I was a fan when I was 5 years old. He's been my favorite artist all of my life. It was Michael Jackson at the time. My dad literally said this. He said, "So you like Michael Jackson, huh?" I said, "Yes, Daddy, he's the greatest." I loved me some Michael. I still do. And he was like, "Let me show you something else. You'll never go back." No shot to Michael. That's my baby. But once I was exposed to Prince, it was wow.
Yeah.
This is different.
Yes.
I'm 5, 6, 7 years old, watching this man on stage get naked, or not get naked, but taking off his shirt, singing to the ladies, and I'm whoa! Whatever he's doing right there that has these ladies knowing that, I'm gonna do that to the men.
Yeah.
I was just so inspired. I still am. I watch his performance clips and I'm wow, this really is one of the greatest performers. His energy is crazy. It's spectacular. And his work ethic. Yeah. I admire Prince. I'm so sad I didn't get a chance to meet him. That'll probably be, if I had to settle on one hill for one collaboration for the rest of my life, it would be Prince. I would save every single coin to collab with him. Whatever his fee is, he got it. I love that man. Oh Lord, you have no idea. Even if it was just him playing the guitar, because that's my favorite instrument.
Yes.
Even if it was him, I'm not gonna give you my vocals for this track. I'm just gonna play. Prince, you Prince, baby. Do please serenade away. Do what you gonna do. That I would be perfectly fine with that. It would be my dream collab. If, I said, if it isn't my dad himself, it's Prince. Yeah.
I love that. Because I can definitely. See those lines being drawn. I can understand why you would say that.
Yeah.
So we could keep you all here all day. We really could. We keep you here all day long. But before we get out of here, a couple last questions. Let the people know, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on social media everywhere under CLEOCRT. That's CLEOCRT. I am mainly active on Instagram and Twitter, so definitely add and follow, and subscribe to YouTube, of course, so you can keep up to date with the performances that I do, and I share the freestyles that I upload to YouTube. And check out SoundCloud too, because sometimes I randomly drop on SoundCloud just because, and I write a lot of music in a day, in a week, in a month, and I like to share it with y'all. So definitely subscribe to my SoundCloud. I know it sounds so cliche, but I like to have some type of platform where I can just directly reach people. And then, follow me on Spotify, that I can be reached. I'm reachable. CLEOCRT.
And, you bring us, I can't remember what the name of the track was, but I was listening to it, and it was one of the 2 tracks that you dropped on January 30th. And it was the one where, it sounded like yes, and you were I'm trying to reach my lover.
23 seconds.
23. That is fire. That is fire. I listened to that. I said, oh, that got downloaded ASAP. I said, I'll mess with that. That is fire.
My freestyles are all recorded on my phone. I don't take them to the studio because I like for them to be in that moment.
Oh, that was fire. That was fire. I said, I'll mess with that right there. This is getting down. This going to the playlist right now. If y'all have not, first of all, if you haven't heard We Can Go Somewhere, if you haven't heard the freestyles, if you haven't heard the catalog, you must have been living under a rock or something. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know.
I'm glad you like 23 Seconds. I do as well. I think it was one of my more complicated freestyles because it's a full song. Like, it would be very hard for people to believe that it's a freestyle just because I memorized the hook. I've been writing so much that, like, I have a method in my head to memorize what I say.
Yes.
So, like, I said the hook, I'm trying to reach out to you. You don't really seem that into me.
Yeah.
I can fall in love in like 23 seconds. And I'm really good with like that da-da-da-da, like
yeah.
that cadence flow of like
yeah.
doing something that can stick with you.
Yeah.
And after I did the freestyle, like the verses too, because I had to freestyle the verses, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna right here. It feels like it's right to bring the chorus back in. What did I say? So like I have to remember what I said on the chorus. But yeah, I love freestyling, especially when I can freestyle a full song, because it's like I never know what I'm gonna get. I just hear a beat, it's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm about to say what's on my heart.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I done asked you 1,000 questions between these past 2 interviews. So this is something new that I'm doing with season 2 of the Mic Drop. You know, I've been doing it so far. And so I would like to invite you if there's anything that you would like to ask me. You know, I'll give you a free pass to, for one question. You can be the interviewer and ask me a question.
What to ask? Let's see. Who would you like to collaborate on the project?
Oh, that's a good question.
And what would the concept be?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right? Now you see how hard that is. Like.
Man. That's a good question. And what would the concept be? Oh, that's 2 questions, but I'll answer them both.
I'll put that in there.
It's so interesting because, you know, as you said, there's so many, you know, dope creatives out here. And I'll say this. And I actually wasn't even going to mention this, but I guess it's the perfect time since you asked. I want to collaborate with my producer, Vab One. I always look at him as like a Dr. Dre type because he's producing. He can do, and he talked about this in his Black Art Talk a couple months ago, where he says like literally, you know, I wanted to, you know, be a 100%er to where I can mix, master, you know, my own stuff. I can write my own stuff. I can record myself. You know, I can do all of these things. And so, you know, the fact that he's been in the game for over 30 years and he has numerous recording projects, plus he has people who he has produced, poets, singers, rappers, all of the above. And so I want to do an entire project with him, and the concept would be, we would call it Wrapped Up in Poetry. Since he's a rapper, I'm a poet. That. And I got that inspiration, like, and I mentioned him earlier, Will Smith is like a huge inspiration to me. And I know a lot of people look at his movies, but for me, it's more of the music. And his, you know, him and DJ Jazzy Jeff's second studio album, he's the DJ, I'm the rapper. And so I just like the way, you know, just that title. And so that's what made me come up with Wrapped Up in Poetry, because he's the rapper, I'm the poet. And so that would be the concept behind that full-blown project.
Wow.
So
I love that. I absolutely love that.
So, you know, of course.
One more question. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm about to say we're about to be here for another couple hours.
No, I'm just kidding.
But you know, I have thoroughly enjoyed this interview. Do you feel like between the 2 interviews that you have gotten to express everything that you would like to express?
I absolutely do. You know, I can't think of a single thing that I would like to bring up, which is rare because I can really go on.
And it's crazy because this was a spur of the moment interview.
It really was.
This is not rehearsed. There were no questions created. It was just something to where it's like, hey, you know, we did talk about you being on season 2. You want to come on and do an interview? And then, I mean, your birthday is right here. So it's like, what better way? I really want the Mic Drop with B. Anderson to be a space where, you know, people can give Mic Drop exclusives. Let the people know what's coming, you know, or you want to promote your project. That's what the Mic Drop with B. Anderson is all about. And it's real important to me that, you know, Cincinnati has an outlet to where, you know, creatives can express themselves freely. You know, I made season 1 more censored. Season 2, you can pretty much say whatever you want, you know. So, you know, I invite, you know, all creatives, come on the platform, come and tell your story, come talk with me. So, you know, if that's it, that's all.
That's it, that's all. I'm turning 21. I'm excited. I'm
Hey.
so excited.
Happy birthday.
Whew, thank you.
This has been the Mic Drop with B. Anderson. I hope you have enjoyed this conversation with Cleöcrt. We are